Niger, London, Manchester. Welcome to the P&B Sports Show. I'm Al Cottom, and today the football world is shaking. We are witnessing history for all the wrong reasons at Stamford Bridge. 114 years of tradition gone in 5 goalless games. And while London is burning, Manchester is blue. Pep has done it again, still in the top spot by the hair on a goat's chin. Joining me to dissect this madness is our own in-house tactical brain, our in-house sports analyst, and my boss, Abel Sunday. And also, all the way from the ancient city of Benin, is the man who sees what others miss, the man who tells the tale before the story begins, the abracadabra of sports, Ero John. Gentlemen, welcome to the P&B Sports Show.
Good morning, and thanks for having me. Ero, good morning.
Ero, good morning. How are you enjoying the ancient city of Benin?
Good morning, Tom. Good morning, Mr. Abel. The pleasure for everyone. Edo is continuously shining, so we are very happy.
Amazing. And so are you. You are extremely, you look extremely good. Well, but Abel, let's start with you. Rosenior is officially out. 23 games, a 48% win rate. But that final stretch was a horror movie. 7 losses in 8 games. In your opinion, is this the worst Chelsea team we've ever seen?
Yes, if it's based on statistics, you will say yes, because I think the last time they had this power run was in 1912 or so, thereabout. I remember you mentioned that yesterday when you were trying to banter. but back to what you just asked, yes, I think it's a very poor form. And when Rosenior came in, his first, I think his first 11 games he won 8 of his first 11, and we're like, okay, I think everything has been stable and stuff like that. But all of a sudden, boom, the whole draft started coming out. And everyone pointed out his match will not have nothing is scoreable. He goes down and everything is just falling apart for Rosenior. But one thing we need to look at, the club is also losing because they have a 6-year contract. According if my information were correct, they have a 6-year contract with him, and certainly now means that of course you need to pay him off. Definitely, there's no two ways about it. And giving him up to 24,000, I think it's 24 million pounds or so. 24 million pounds is a huge whole lot of money.
Abel. Yeah. Some reports came out yesterday saying that they will not be paying Liam Rosenior 24 million pounds because his contracts came out, stating some facts that he has to have had some wins before, and he must have achieved probably some trophies before he will be able to earn that when leaving the club. But Ero, I'm going to come straight to you. We are talking about pre-World War I level of utility. In my opinion, it has been 114 years. That's since 1990, since 1912, that the Chelsea side have performed this poorly. How does a 1.16 billion naira squad fail to score for over 450 minutes? You mean 5 straight games?
You see, in situations like this, we beg to leave the question for all of that money spent on. We just got the figure of 1.56 billion pounds spent on players, and yet the club doesn't have one quality center back. The only one they have is Frederick Injo. He was not good as an academic player. That's just to say that owners of the club don't prioritize quality. They prioritize quantity. They are in the business of buying and selling. Let's back there at a cheap rate, we sell up. And it makes me question the kind of business trend that they have. Because I said something, they are not even gaining from this thing. For example, we bought Garnacho for 40 million pounds. I can bet you that nobody will pay 30 million for Garnacho. Nobody will even pay 20 million. Now, if you even get to shoot, I want to find it. Maybe the only reason to come for him is because he's young. I'm not trying to banter him. So it is a problem of the ownership. The problem has just been an institutional problem. We send a lot of players to the club. I can tell you for free, Tom,
Part of that 1.56 billion, about 600 million went into academic players. Some part of that money went into players to sign a player with him at the club, where he's playing. So there are no political players from the team. Just imagine the president have a Joaquin who is carrying injured, and that is not easy. About as easy. So the club owners are spending money on quantity and not quality.
We are talking about quantity and not quality. You said you mentioned that they need a center back. You've mentioned some certain things, but it seems like they might need an overhaul of the entire management of Chelsea, as some people have said. How will you explain the fact that and Abel, I'll be throwing this question to you, that in the final 3-0 loss to Brighton, Chelsea managed only 6 shots with 0 on target and produced a abysmal performance against a Brighton side. Is it just bad luck, or is it the tactical setup of Liam Rosenior? Is it that it's fundamentally broken? And should Chelsea call Enzo Maresca and beg him to come back to finish the season?
Calling Enzo Maresca back, I don't think that would be possible. I think Enzo Maresca have his eyes on the bigger prize. I don't think he will want to come back to his vomit anymore. Sorry to use that word. Talking about Chelsea's performance yesterday or so, I think yesterday, I think the truth is Rosenior has lost the dressing room. That's the truth. He doesn't have control over it. Even if you listen to his press conference, you will know that yes, he has actually lost grip of the players. Most of these players, to be honest, I don't think they play for him anymore. They just want to. I know that what players do most times. When they don't have, then they lost faith with the manager. They don't manage. They just want to play anyhow. And of course, the manager has always been at the receiving end and is going to show the exit door. And I think that's the issue with the issue we have in this case. You want to say something?
Abel, this is a side that they had a strong start when Liam Rosenior came in from Strasbourg. A lot of people didn't have faith in him. But despite a strong start, he won his first 4, PL games. Rosenior's tenure it ended with a 47.8% win rate, 11 wins, 2 draw and 10 losses in 23 games. He also oversaw the club's joint heaviest European defeat, an 8-2 aggregate loss to PSG in the UCL, round of 16. What does this say about Liam Rosenior as a manager, as a coach, and as a person? Because this is a man that he left Strasbourg in high hopes. People, when you are being signed by a big club, a club that has a lot of history like Chelsea, your family supports you. Your family comes out, they celebrate. You have an elaborate dinner, you have an elaborate plan, and then you spend less than 4 months, a whooping 107 days with Chelsea. What does it say about Liam Rosenior, and where does he go next from here?
The truth is, it's not how well you start, it's how you finish. That's it. You could start poorly, but the main focal point of where we are looking at how you are going to finish. And you can bring Matt, I know we're going to talk about that Man City case to this. We can use that as case study, but I don't want to talk about that because I know I'm going to talk about that later. But that's it. He started so well, but now I think the truth is, a lot of people have called out that he lacked the capacity to handle such a thing, and which I think is showing that even the pressure is coming in. He has lost the dressing room. He has lost. Yes, against Brighton, you will know that there's no idea. Yeah, he has run out of ideas. There's nothing he could do about it. There are so many questions that he could not have answers to. He was just playing the game just like that. Let's just play. Let's just start there. I think that's the mindset right now. Let's just see how we run the remaining games over. Then let's start afresh next season. And of course, the Chelsea fans will not be able to keep that and have that patience. And it's embarrassing. They are the world champion as he speaks. They are the defending champion as he speaks. So you cannot be producing such football week in, week out like that. And 5 games, not even a goal score. Honestly, it's embarrassing. If you ask.
Abel, every side that has won the Chelsea side, in this 5-game stretch, I consider them as the interim world champions. But under Rosenior, Chelsea conceded about 1 0.78 goals per game, and in the final 5 matches slide they conceded 11 goals while scoring 0. You know, there's a Caicedo, you know, that is in the club, and the Chelsea side spent £115 million on Caicedo. So why is the defense so exposed under Liam Rosenior, or why was it so exposed?
What are you expecting from the defense lineup that is led by Chaloba, Ato, and what's his name, and Wesley Fofana, the stick-bone defender? That's what I was talking about. There are a lot of quantity players everywhere. They are not quality players. You can't compare these guys. You can't compare these guys to the likes of. Look at Manchester City. Look at the quality of defenders that they have. Look at the quality of players that they sign. So, and then one thing that made me sign Rosina off, that made me say no, this one cannot succeed here. There were players. Every manager has players who tend to do well under them. Every manager has players who tend to thrive under them. You see, when Ruben Amorim was the coach of Manchester United, we saw a very good part of Amad Diallo. Now, when Maresca was at Chelsea, now we saw the return of Cucurella, we saw Caicedo come to a monster, we saw a couple of players, even Robert Sanchez. We saw a Kopama under the Simon James Saka. You cannot mention one player that has under him.
Abel, sorry, Abel, I think your device is vibrating.
So what kind of tactics do you declare in such a team that there is not a single player that we can say, oh, this guy is doing well under this manager? Not a single player. So it needs to get him. What exactly are you doing there on the sideline? So once again, to answer your question, the deep income from the players, even if many of them are quantity, that quality, is as a result of the coaching tactics. And then again, the fact that we do not have very good players. I don't expect much from the defense line that is led by Chaloba. A player that makes more errors than the defense. What exactly you expect?
Okay.
And attacking one that is left that
Indeed.
One player has left the door. They should come and take the other league.
Indeed. Edel, man to man, I want you to explain this to me. You know, when you talk about the management, since the 2022 takeover, you know, of the Chelsea management, Chelsea have had 5 permanent managers. You know, they've had Tuchel, they've had Potter, they've had Pochettino, they've had Maresca and Liam Rosenior, and changed leadership in interims 9 times in less than 4 years. You know, in your opinion, is Liam Rosenior just another victim of a flawed ownership model?
Yeah, I think if you ask me, I think he's not a bad manager, to be honest. Not that he is. I'm not trying to pamper the situation right now. You get? It's not that he's a bad manager, but I think he's just at the wrong place. That's the truth. Because I don't think the setup of the Chelsea Football Club suits the style of Senior. You get? I don't think he's that kind of manager that could handle such pressure and such a setup of a Chelsea Football Club. So I think the scouting, they got it wrong. They got the this thing wrong, because getting him to fit in that team. If you look at what Enzo Marata was in fourth before he came in. You get?
Yes. But Abel, sorry to interject. You know, there's another man. Liam Rosenior is obviously out, and there's another man, and that's McFarlane. In your opinion, briefly, can McFarlane do more than just babysit the squad until the season ends? Obviously, this is McFarlane's, you know, second time as interim manager this year. He previously led them to a 1-1 draw against Man City, and also a loss to Fulham before Rosenior was hired out of Strasbourg.
There's one thing about interim leadership. The players also always tend to do well because they want to prove a point that this guy this is the person that was the
Abel, are you with us? Okay. Well, Errol, tell us, what do you think about McFarlane and his performance? Do you think he can do something? Briefly.
I don't think he can do so much. I just think he'll be able to manage the situation until the end of the season.
Okay, so
although I have a little bit of hope because someone that could hold the Manchester City to a draw, I'm not expecting so much. I'm not expecting. I don't even want Chelsea to go to Europe, so I'm not expecting so much.
Okay, so you do not want Chelsea to go to Europe. Well, it's quite unfortunate that we're going to be seeing the Manchester United side that is going to go to Europe, while Chelsea will become, watchers and lookers of the success of some of the big clubs, in English Premier League.
So it's not new.
Okay. Right now, we're going to go on a short break, and when we come back, we are going to be discussing the rise of Manchester City to the first place on the EPL table, and also what happened to Arsenal. So don't go anywhere, because P&B Sports Show will be right back. We're bringing you the biggest headlines, match analysis, and expert analysis from the world of sport.
Unbelievable! It's Rodri! Manchester City on their way!
From football to basketball to athletics, from outdoor sports to indoor sports, we all got you covered. Stay with us as we break down the latest results
and as we dive into the major sports stories making waves globally and locally.
Oh, he's taken it!
The home of everything sports, only on Politics and Business Television. Welcome back to P&B Sports Show. I'm your host, Aaron Cottom, and we are still on the EPL. What is happening? What has gone wrong? And how did Manchester City climb the EPL table? About 11 games ago, they were behind of Arsenal, but slowly they climbed, and it seems like they are already conquering. City is known for being the hunter in the late season title race. City just ended Arsenal's 200-day reign at the top of the table. In City's history, does sitting in second place actually act as a psychological advantage for Pep Guardiola's squad?
At this point, I think so. At this point, at this point that we are here, there's just this psychological effect that being in second position gives to them. I think it just gives them this hope and courage that yes, let's be in second position, 5, 7, 8 games to go, we know what will happen. It seems to be like history repeating itself, and it seems to be a pattern for Pep Guardiola and Manchester City. But this time around, Arsenal had all it took. They left this one slip from their hands. I'm not going to say that strong completely, but dropping down to second position for the first time in over 400 days was entirely on Arsenal. Because there was never a time that this Manchester they were first on the table. They know that they were second on day one. At the time they were up, the time we discussed Manchester City on this show and their level of inconsistency. So this is purely on Arsenal and Mikel Arteta. But kudos to Pep Guardiola, kudos to the mentality and creating the players. Like you said, it's becoming a pattern, and I think it's beginning to have a psychological effect on the players.
Okay. Indeed, not just patterns, but we are talking about the DNA of Manchester City. City has won 12 or more consecutive Premier League matches late in one season. Why is this team uniquely built to peak in April and May while everyone is retiring or they are tired at the end of the season?
Well, I think it's the mentality of the system. I will not say just the coach. I think the coach has built a system that sustained these guys even down to the last game. And I know on this show I've said it countless times. I said it's a very, very difficult and very, very dangerous for a City team to be breathing behind your nose, just like they're waiting for you to sleep. And it happened, I said it happened before 2023 season. It happened the same. And again, now, of course, Guardiola is on the driving seat. There's no two ways about it. He's on the driving seat right now. So it's left for him to lose or do anything. Right now, as it stands, he's on the driving seat. So it will only take a miracle for him to do. And City now, if you agree with the City has picked form, they are putting that in. Okay, look at what happened yesterday. Anyhow bad it is, 1-0. Anyhow bad it is, they'll pick it. Like that. And that's how they're cutting it small, and down to the end.
I just hope and I hope that miracle actually happen because I want Arsenal to pick this season.
Okay, speaking about miracles, obviously in 2018, I think in 2018, 2019, City improved their goal difference by 16, and in their final last games, now that they lead Arsenal only on goals scored, 66 versus 63, will we see Pep intentionally blow teams out to secure the title or on the secondary tiebreaker, in your opinion, Ero?
All is fair in love and war. In love and war, all is fair. So I expect Manchester City to be ruthless against anybody they race. Because as we speak, they are like you said, they are sitting on top of the table with goals for they have more goals for than Arsenal. That's the only thing that is keeping them on the top of the table. Even if they are tired of that, they will still be top because they have a better head to head. But when you want to maintain such a league, when you want to maintain that, let's say for example that the both teams go down to win all their remaining games in the season. I mean, this will still be the factor that we consider. So yes, I expect them to be the ruthless, I expect them to be merciless, no matter who they beat. Because like I said before, all is fair in love and war.
Okay, as I said, all is fair in love and war. But talking about one man that doesn't seem to be understanding the war and doesn't seem to be in love at the moment, that man is Arteta. Since Arteta took charge, City has spent 317 fewer days at the top of the table than Arsenal, but has won 4 more titles. Does this prove that being first for 200 days means nothing if you don't have City's finisher mentality, and especially a player like Haaland, Abel?
I have to use an illustration like a relay race. The last lap matters more than any other thing. It doesn't matter how you start. The last lap actually matters. So it depends, and most coaches, even in athletics, they will tell their athletes, come, you just have to be focused, and they only save their best to the last. Their best runner, they always put it at the last. Probably they try to see how they could finish, then maybe start strong, then leave some kind of people that cannot really run at the middle. But the last lap is always the finisher, the person that has that mentality. Even when they're behind, you could see that you could take that leadership. And I think that is what Man City is doing now, considering the fact that they're even the conversation for treble right now, because they're in FA Cup semi-finals. They're already top of the league, and also they've won Carabao Cup. So they're already in the conversation for treble. So I think that alone is a huge motivation for them to say, hey, yeah, the belief is back. But all those times that they were being inconsistent, the belief is back. Say, hey guys, we can do this. We can even win treble this time around, and which is very, very good. And if you end up like that, I think honestly nobody will want to Pep will leave Man City with his shoulder very high. That yes, he has actually done something. And that's what I think. Yeah, that's what I think.
Okay. Well, obviously, gentlemen, the clock is against us. But Abel, quickly, give us your final words, and also tell me, who do you think is going to win the season? I'm not asking you who you hope wins the season, but who do you think wins the season?
Me or me?
Abel, yes, Abel, you.
Well, I just have these feelings that Arsenal is doing. I just have the feelings.
Okay, and Errol, who do you think is going to take the season?
Manchester City.
Okay, on one side it's Manchester City, and on the other side it's Arsenal. You heard it here first. So if you love the chaos, follow us on all our social media platforms. On YouTube, I'm at Politics and Business TV.English, on Facebook at Politics and Business TV.English, on Instagram at PNBTV_English, and on X at PNBTV_ENG. And also, if you want to watch us on channel 008 on Nikon Sat. Subscribe, hit that subscribe button, like the video, and comment below. Who is the right man, to lead the Chelsea team next season? This is P&B Sports Show, and we are saying that we're out. Keep it locked in, and obviously, make sure that your sporty life is fire.